very first live attempt here on the afternoon drive. Of course, it's night and we're about 3 hours into Vlad Putin deciding he's going to go ahead and make an invasion into Ukraine. Now, initially, I wasn't sure what he was going to do. In fact, I've done a couple of commentaries stating outright I had no idea what he was actually thinking or doing. I do know that on our end, we seem to be working rather overtime, if you will, to try to goad this thing into happening, which is really sad. But there is something that our president could do right now that could really put an effect on all of this. No, I am still against our military involvement in this. Absolutely against that. What we can do, very simply, number one, cut him off from Swiss banking. Absolutely cut him off at the knees right now from Swiss banking. Cripple his economy. And by the way, you're now seeing what happens when Obama Biden took office, and the first thing he wanted to do was roll back, erase, and do away with everything that had been gained under President Donald Trump. The Keystone Pipeline went away. Our energy independence went away. President Biden, who talked about being so tough against Russia, he was the one that waved off the restrictions on the Russian pipeline and said, go ahead, go for it. We shut ours down. We let Russia do their thing. Russia gets 55 to 60% of its economy right now is based on its sale of oil because they are rich in energy, and countries like Germany and Europe are buying oil from them. Putin has this idea that he can basically do whatever he wants because nations need what he has. So, as a result of that, we need to cut him off by number one, cut him off from the Swiss bank, cut him off from his international access to funds. Number two, we need to go back into production, and we need to be supplying these nations that are now going to need Vlad Putin and Russia for oil. They'll step aside, they'll let him take Ukraine and whatever else he wants to do because they need his oil. Now remember, Germany tried to turn off the pipeline there, and what happened? Vlad Putin's basic attitude was, yeah, okay, go ahead. You're turning us off. You'll be back in a couple of weeks because you can't afford to pay because you don't have the resources to make it without us. This, again, is more Biden bumbling that this happened. This is tragic. It should have never gotten to this. If we had cut him off financially in the beginning, this may have been avoided, but now it's happened. I hate to see American troops committed to something like this. Vlad Putin has said for decades that he wants to reunify the former Soviet Union. We're now seeing that. This is exactly what's happening. This could be stopped. This could be stopped right now. Cut him off from international banking and cut him off from being able to supply oil. This is where, if we had a strong leader in the White House, remember when Donald Trump made NATO start paying their fair share? Does anyone doubt that if Donald Trump were in the White House right now, that number one, he wouldn't be in bed? And I have this feeling President Biden, after initially being woken and giving his lame response, our prayers are with the Ukraine people. Oh, great. He had basically a 60-second phone call with the president of Ukraine to tell him, yeah, I'm rallying the world leaders. You know, he hung the phone up and went back to bed. I'm sorry. I know later today he's going to come out and give a speech and have something to say. Bullhawk. If Donald Trump were in office right now, he would be up. He would be on the phone with every world leader, in particular those in Europe who are buying their oil from Russia. And he would be telling them flat out, if you want any more help from America, you will stop taking oil and energy from Russia. You will stop immediately. You've got to put pressure on them. That in turn puts pressure on Putin. Because at the end of the day, he's really hoping to pull this off without leveling Ukraine. He wants to bring them in. He wants to annex them back into Russia. He really doesn't want to lay waste to Ukraine citizens. He doesn't. That's why he's telling the Ukraine army, just lay your weapons down. We're not here to just needlessly shed blood. Just let us take you peacefully. Yeah, but we know how that's going to work. So the bottom line here is the president right now needs to be putting pressure to make sure that Putin is cut off from international banking, international finance through Swiss, and he needs to make sure that he is cut off from being able to sell oil. Do those two things right now, and you will have Vlad Putin's attention, and this can be stopped. Obviously, I'll have more to say about this as the day progresses, but I wanted to come on here. This is my first ever live chat, so we'll keep an eye on this. Again, there's this part of me that thinks, Vlad, what are you doing? You had an opportunity here to. You had an opportunity here to rewrite the narrative about you, but apparently you're not interested in that. You really do now want to really flex your muscles and do your thing and get back on that world stage, even if it means that you are going to be the domineering bully of Europe. You don't like the fact that you were bounced from the G8 and it became the G7. You lost the world stage. You want it back. You want Ukraine back. You are kicking a sleeping dog. You could have let it lie, but apparently you couldn't. And so now all bets are off. And at this point, you deserve whatever comes your way. And we need the president now to get his head out of the fog. We need whoever to give him his Prevagen, get him cognitive, and he needs to get out of bed, and he needs to be handling this right now. I'll have more to say about this as the day goes on.